Let's get a move on then. Hello, my name is the Team Voxelbob Show, and you're coming to me live from Chicago, Illinois, 60657. That's the zip code that you're watching from, because I'm only making this for one person in one zip code. That's why I'm able to get away with that joke. If you're seeing this and you're not located in that zip code, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to tell you that you've gone insane. I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you that you're insane. That's what I should have said, because that would have made more sense. Because it doesn't make sense. I should have said, if you're watching this from another zip code, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to ask you that you're insane. That would have been fucking hilarious. That would have been fucking hilarious if I just knew to say that. I'm gonna have to ask you that you're insane. Cause that's fucking not something that you ask people. You tell them that. You don't ask them that. I'm afraid I'm gonna have to ask you to... See, I can't say to, because then it ruins the sense. There's nothing to order them to do. You could be like, I'm gonna have to ask you to realize that you're insane. But that doesn't hit the same bell. Doesn't make you smile. It doesn't hit you. I'm gonna have to ask you to go to the nearest mental institution. See, that's too long. That's too long. So it's better to just be like, I'm gonna have to ask you that you're insane. Like you could just say, if you're insane, I'm gonna have to ask you if you're... But that's not as funny. It's not as funny to ask if someone's insane. Everybody asks people if they're insane on the car. When you're driving on a car and somebody else is driving in their car, you go, I'm gonna have to ask you that you're insane. But, so that's why, anybody could ask somebody that they're insane. But to tell them that they're insane in a question form, it's a hypothetical question whenever you're driving on a car or in a car and you see somebody. Usually it's hypothetical. You're kind of implying that they're doing something. Just by asking the question, you're kind of implying that they're insane. Like, it's not a normal thing to be accused of. That's why just to be even accused of it is kind of already enough to feel accused of it. Being asked is enough to feel accused. Just being asked if you're insane, because normally if you're just a person walking down the road in your job, if you're just walking down the road in the office while working your job on the computer, minding your business, and somebody asked you, are you insane? You would be like, I'm just doing my job. I'm walking down the sidewalk on the phone with my computer in my desk next to me. What's insane? Why would you ask me if I'm insane? You're doing the same job with me right now, too. Are you insane? Are you insane for asking me if I'm insane? Because I think if anybody's insane, it's the person that's asking the insane question. So then usually they would be like, well, no. I am asking for good, clear reasons, because normally people that work office jobs do it inside. They don't walk down the sidewalk with their office cubicle attached to them. So that's why I asked if you're insane. I was literally asking in a non-offensive... I was not even being mean. I was not even upset. I was upset that you were blocking the whole sidewalk. But when I said, are you insane, I didn't mean anything offensive by it. I was asking in a clinical sense. I was like, hey, I mean, I know this is kind of a faux pas question to even add, but like, I know that this is kind of like a weird, so people don't really use the term insane anymore as a real term. But are you insane? Like, if they were to use, if insane, since insane people still exist, can I ask, are you one of them? Are you somebody that should be instituted? See, that's pretty much how you would ask. These days, you would say, Are you somebody who is experiencing or has experienced a mentally health? Have you ever been institutionalized? Have you ever been psychologically institutionalized against your will? In other words, are you insane? Have you been insane, or are you insane? Are you insane? That's what you asked back in the 50s, all the way up to the late 90s. You could just be like, "Sir, are you insane?" I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm just saying that's how you ask. "Sir, are you insane?" There's no way to ask it without sounding insane yourself. You can't sound like a normal person when you're even asking if somebody's... Like, even if you're asking as a clinical doctor wearing a white lab coat, you would still sound insane asking somebody else if they're... You'd be like, "Sir, it's the 1960s. We talk like this. We talk like this on the TV. Everybody has the same broadcasting style way of talking. And it sounds very warm and fuzzy, because it goes through an analog processing chain, and it goes on tape, and then it's in the metal oxide, and it chips away to the analog signal. Sounds warm and smooth and manly." Everybody sounded more manly in the 50s because of the bass response of whatever the hell equipment they were using. It just preserved the bass. It just accentuated the basic part of their voice, so there was no lesbians back then. I mean, men. There was no lesbian-like men back then, is what I meant. They weren't lesbians either, but I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about men that happen to be weak-looking sounding pussy-ass men that don't exist back then, because they died in the fetal position. I wasn't trying to even make a joke. I wasn't even trying to make a joke at their expense, but it's just funny to say that they died in the fetal position when it's not really even what I meant to say. They died as fetuses. So it's like, it's kind of like implied. It's kind of like implied that they died in the fetal position. So it's like, why did you even say that? Why did you even say that? So the 50s, everybody talk badly. So anyway, in the 50s, they'd be like, "Sir, are you insane while you're smoking Lucky Strike cigarettes? Are you insane?" You can't ask that without sounding insane or like you're doing a commercial. You can't be driving, and you can't be in any context in the world and ask somebody if they're insane in a way that doesn't make you look like a broadcaster or an insane. I just tried. I'm a great actor. My range, I just gave you my full range. There's no way, even if you're the best actor in the world, like Peter Schlong, I don't know, that wasn't a real name. The dude who was in Sideways. Like, let's just say it's this guy, Peter Giamatti, or what, Peter Giamatti. Even he would have a problem with this, delivering this line. He'd be like, "Okay, let me see about this. Can I just ask, are you insane?" And he'd be like, "That didn't work. Let me try it again. Are you insane?" "Yeah, that didn't work either. Who wrote this fucking screenplay? Who wrote this screenplay?" I can't do impressions. But he'd be like, "Can I ask, are you insane? Are you insane?" There's no way to say that word without sounding insane or like you're doing a commercial. "You'd be insane not to buy these popsicles at this price. Are you insane? Don't you want to buy these popsicles?" I don't know. They don't really present commercials just by right out of the gate, just yelling at the consumer. "Are you insane?" No, they don't really do that. They kind of set it up a little more. They set it up as like, "You'd be insane." Like, they usually use another person to show that you don't want to be this guy. They don't just target the guy watching to be like, "You're fucking..." They don't do that. They have somebody else represent who you don't want to be. They'll have some goofy boofball, and then he'll be the guy that another smarter person asks, "You're insane." They ask, but they're telling, "Hey, I have to ask you, you're insane." Anyway, so the other person in the commercial will be like, "Are you insane?" I don't know. It only works when the presenter of the commercial, I think, kind of... It only works, really, when you're telling somebody, "You'd be insane." Like, the word insane... It's gone insane how useless that word is, aside from just commercials, like saying, "You'd be insane not to go to the grocery store at these prices, not to pick up this rotisserie chicken at this price. You'd be insane." That's the only use. That's the only use for that word in today's day and age. Paul Giamatti. You know, he could try. The best Oscar-winning performing actor, you know, like Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger, he would be like, and he's literally an insane person that died of insanity. And like, let's see if even he could do this. I don't know. He'd be like, wanna hear a joke? No, he doesn't talk like that. But he'd be like, you're being insane. I can't see, everybody sounds the same, but I can't do impressions. And I respect people that can do impressions, you know? You know, we all have different voices, but mine is just a Chicago guy. It's just a Chicago I'm a simple guy from Chicago. And I like pasta, mastacholi, and cigarettes. You know, I don't even smoke cigarettes. I just know that that's what I would be doing if I wasn't doing this. If I didn't have a daylight, like if I had no other hobbies. What did you do as a kid? What did you do in the 50s when everyone was a kid, you know? Everybody who's still alive now was probably a kid in the 50s. I mean, Jesus Christ, can you imagine? Can you imagine being alive in the 50s and still alive now? And in the 50s, you were already an adult. You were already an adult in the 50s. And you're in the 20s, the next 20, and like, you'd be like, now I'm going to do an impression of that. So you'd be, how old would you even have to be? At least 90. Who cares? Let's just pretend it's possible to do that. Like, you know, it's possible to be that old still. So you could be that old, and you'd be like, what the like, so the example of somebody that's still alive is that guy Will Shatner. He's in like 90s, in his 90s. He was like an adult in the 50s. I'm not going to do the math. But let's just pretend he was above the age of 25, and it was still the 50s. That's crazy. He was above the age of 25, old enough to do whatever the hell he wanted. He had his full personality done. Throw away the key. I ain't changing who I am or how I behave around women because it's the 50s and I'm 25, and this is how the world is. It's how the world's always going to be. Can you imagine still being alive and being famous too, and saying that you don't hate the world? I don't know. I guess if you've never done anything wrong, then I guess there's nothing to be upset about. Because William Shatner has never been accused of any wrongdoings. And I'm not saying that he should be. I'm just saying everybody has done something in the 50s that they would consider regretful these days. They would consider it bad behavior. So what's going on there? He was in the 50s. He obviously... Back then, okay, I don't want to say what you were allowed to do. It's not like, you know, the further you go back in time, though, you could have gotten away with... Like, we were just more and more like animals in a way that was accepted. It's like, yeah, you're a man, so you act on your instincts, you know? You just acted on your instincts more. It was less, it was more of like the boys will be boys mentality. And these days, I'm fine, you know, you know, with boys being boys. The thing is, now they're not. See, I'm older than these guys. See, that's what I should be talking. That's what he should be mad about. I know I didn't explain anything yet, but that's what he should be mad. He should be mad. William Shatner, as a 98-year-old, should be mad that boys are not being boys. He should be like, when I was a kid, we had a saying. It was boys will be boys, and now that's not true. Now boys will be, they will do anything. They will become anything. I don't know what they will be. Boys will be boys. Some will remain boys. Some will be something else. Some will be something that resembles boys, and they will have tits. They'll have breasts. I don't like that. See, that's what he should be. I don't care. But if I was twice the age of a baby boomer, like if I was the grandparent of a baby boomer, I think I would probably find it a little odd that the little chillins are no longer being boys. Like the saying is no longer true that boys will in fact be boys. In fact, that's not always the case. Boys will tend to decide later in life if they actually want to be boys. So it's a little more complicated than the 50s, and a little more complicated than what we used to say in the tumbleweed era of life. In the Western frontier, we didn't have the option to not be boys. We had to be tough, and then World War II happened. World War I happened before this, but we're not living off of that. Like, we're still living off of the remnants or the cultural changes of World War II. In World War I, we don't know. That was just a war. World War II was a war that led to something after. It led to a change in the world. I'm not going to pretend I know anything. I'm not going to pretend I know the exact right word to use to sound smart. It changed the fabric of multiple cultures. It changed the global climate. So World War I was just U-boats. That's it. It was just Franz Ferdinand getting shot. And that just caused like the last straw to the camel's back to break or something. And then they just started building U-boats. And they just shot a few torpedoes under the water. But there was no ramifications. There was nothing changed the world other than that. Other than that, U-boats existed. And a few ships got sunk by torpedoes that we kind of miss, like beautiful boats from the Edwardian era. So that's what ended from World War I. We stopped wearing long little dresses. We had to get more tip-top, more ship shape. We couldn't just be dancing around on ships anymore and Titanics, So that's what World War I. But who cares about? I mean, okay, that's just too long ago for anyone to care. World War II is more relevant. That's actually connected because that launches that's what kicks off the tinder to create the hippie generation and the baby boom generation. See, that is what we are living off of. That is what really the war taught changed about the world, is that it caused the baby boom, and the baby boom is way more catastrophic than the war itself ever was or could have been. Because those people didn't deserve to die in the war. The baby boomers did deserve to die. Unfortunately, they were too young to fight in that war because they had not been born yet. And they didn't even have a reason to exist until they won the stupid war. The whole reason that baby boomers exist is because we were happy that we won the stupid war, but the wrong people died. So the baby boomers, then they had to decide, they had to kind of go to war. Some of them were old enough to experience war themselves, and it was a stupid war. So I kind of feel bad for, so they kind of don't, so why did they deserve that? So baby boomers, I don't know, is that baby boomers? I don't know who the hell went to Vietnam. It was some baby boomer. People born in the 40s and 50s, definitely. A lot of them went to. Most of those people are the ones that you don't hear about that anymore because nobody cares. Nobody wants to hear about some baby boomer complaining about Vietnam, because everybody's kind of moved on from that. Even at the time, it was extremely controversial to support that war. So it's like anybody that was in it didn't get any support when they came home anyway. So what the hell is the point of that? So that's why they just did heroin in the jungle and died in the jungle, because there was no glory in not dying. So they just decided, well, yeah, guess I'm just dying in the jungle. That's my life. That's life as a baby boomer. The cool ones died in Vietnam, and then there's the ones who dodged the draft that are still around that we're dealing with. They're still around because they dodged a draft. This fucking lazy cocks. And I'm not mad. I'm just kidding. I just think it's funny to just curse for no reason. I'm not actually mad. I don't care. But I just stumbled onto a truth is that, all the cool baby boomers you don't hear about because they all fucking died in the jungle before anybody knew about them. They were 18-year-olds. So you don't really... They're nobody's uncle. They weren't old enough to even become an uncle or anything. So they died at their peak of their coolness before anybody could talk about how cool they were. There's no glory in it. So I'm glorifying it right now. And baby boomers that didn't go to the freaking war were, they were the ones making it cool to not be in the war. They didn't glorify the soldiers getting killed they should have. They should have been like, this baby boomer's cool. Nah, they were defying the people older than them. They were defying Jimi Hendrix, was like a little older than he was not a baby boom. Jimi Hendrix was not even a baby. So then anyone that was a cool baby boomer, a lot of them were too young to be a part of the 60s. They were too young to contribute to the 60s. They consumed the 60s. All they did was just like, yeah, hey, it's cool to be here. But they didn't start the trend. They just jumped on the band. This is cool that I just happened to be in my 20s during the time that acid hits the marketplace. It's legal and nobody gives a damn. It's not even stigmatized. Yeah, this is the time to be... This is me. I'm part of this. It's like, yeah, but you didn't even do anything to start it. This is just people 10 years older than you, like Allen Ginsberg. He's the guy. Bob Dylan. Like those guys are the guys that are actually fueling what you're consuming, and you're just snorting it up. And then they became cokeheads because that's all they do is they consume, and then they created Silicon Valley, and I'm pissed off about that because now they gave a bunch of billionaires to nerds. They gave a bunch of billions to nerds, and now we got nerds creating pedophile islands. And why is it that only sophisticated cultures become pedos? We're going to end on this. I'm doing a short episode, by the way, because I have to be somewhere else. We're doing a morning episode to prepare for another podcast that I'm going to be appearing on right after this. I'm going to be driving there. It's called The High Today Show, and you can catch it on YouTube, and I'll be on that talking about the same shit. I'm going to go right in there. I'm going to sit down, and I'll be like, never mind what my name is. Never mind all that. Why is it that pedophiles are sophisticated cultures? Why is it only why is it only sophisticated? That's what I'm going to start the podcast on. Before he even introduces me, he's like, hey, welcome to the High Today Show. So we got Timmy. Never mind that. This is me talking now. Can I just put... Why is it that cultures that have a lot of high degrees that have a high concentration, like that's the thing I just noticed. It's like, it does seem like there's a pattern that like it's only like people that tend to have like this like weird, it's like they have this double life. They all lead a double life, pedophiles. So that takes a degree of sophistication, and you only see that in certain cultures. And it's like, seems like there's a pattern, like a lot of pedophiles have like this high IQ, and like they seem like they're pretty well put together in every other way in their life. They live a double life, and that requires that's the weird part. That's the creepy part. It's already creepy as fuck, but just that, I don't know, like you don't see like in ghetto culture there being a lot of pedos because they don't lead double lives. They just walk away from life to life. They just walk away from them. They have serial life. They start a family, they have sex, they have a kid, and then they walk away from that life. They don't live a double life, is what I'm saying. So that's why, that's like pedophile. Like, are they not sophisticated enough to be pedophiles? That's the question. And I think that's a great question, because then you're saying, wait, so you're saying only smart people? That's racist, but also, at least you're saying that it's also it's racist, but also you're saying it's not, you're only white, you're saying it's bad about, I guess it's not racist because I'm only talking about white people having this problem, so I guess it's not racist if you're only talking about. I'm seeing a lot of pedophiles in the black communities. Is all I'm saying, and so I'm just trying to connect the dots. Like some cultures are definitely more sophisticated. Like Japanese culture is the most common cited, like orderly, like utopian, like the closest thing to like, okay, this is a culture that understands that they're part of something greater than, they care more about the greater picture than just the individual. They kind of understand, like they don't step on each other in subways. They understand that, no, you're just one individual. You're not the world. You're not the main character. There's another individual, that you fucking idiot. That's just ingrained into their culture and probably even into their DNA after some point of breeding, eugenics. That's what happens in a culture. The Jews are another culture that people often tout as orderly. They have, their streets are clean. I'm just kidding. There's no Jewish culture. There's no country of Israel. You can't go there because it's a war zone. Nobody cites Jewish culture as orderly. I don't know. Do they? They cite it as bad. The only stereotypes that I could think of for Jews is negative ones, but they actually have a lot of positive ones. Is that I'm not trying to like do a joke. I'm just saying, like, they're smart, but that's not a cultural thing, is it? Because it is. They like intelligence and shit like that. And okay. So they value that. They value intelligence, and so we had to do a short episode. But that's what I'm going to talk about. I gotta leave in about 5-10 minutes, and I had to get warmed up. For something for this somehow. Okay. I feel like this is a good place to end just because I ran out of steam and I covered all the topics that I wanted to cover. But anyway, it's let's do one more quick topic here because it's a really short episode. I mean, I've only been recording for, I'm not even timing how long I've been recording. Well, anyway, I could talk about shit I've been doing in life, but this is not a blog. I already did talk about what I'm doing in life. I'm doing a podcast today. I could talk about, but here's other things I'm doing. Oh, by the way, to catch you up on other things I've been doing. I don't really like doing that. It's not that I don't like doing it. If somebody's like wondering, hey, what have you been up to? But if I'm just telling, if I just like blogging for the sake of vlog, just like posting on social media just to update people, like, hey, haven't heard from me in a while. Well, I just think it's a good time to just give you a life update. Like, I do that ironically, but like to actually tell people, just random people, what you're up to in life, just like, here's what I've been. Who the hell wants to have just anybody know? It's not even about the like who cares thing. I think people do care, or else why would they be on? Because they do care. Strangely enough, people do care what you're up to. If they happen to see that you posted something, they will be like, oh, what the fuck is that shit? Like, they'll do it in a couple seconds. It'll take less than a second for them to process this, but they'll do it. They'll see, oh, that's something that looks positive, that oh, he's happy. Fuck that guy. They'll see something like to that effect that, oh, fuck that guy. He's happy. He's like showing off that he has a life. Yeah, who the hell? That's not even what I care about. I don't care about that part. I just feel like it's an invasion of privacy for people to know what the hell I'm doing. Why the hell should just anybody know what the hell I'm up to in life? That's like very. So I get why being famous is not attractive. Like, you know, everybody feels like, oh, you're so cool to be famous, because then people be like, hey, you're cool, man. Hey, you're cool. Yeah, come hang out. Hey, yeah, that's the cool part about. Yeah, that part is awesome. But then there's a part where everybody knows everything that you're up to. Like, hey, man, you know, so you know how that business deal that failed, you know, that movie that flopped. You know how you did a bad job of that movie. You know how you did a bad job in that movie and you got divorced and half your assets got split. That was fucking hilarious, man. I saw that viral video. I saw a video of you, man, throwing all that shit around your garage. And I happen to have the same color garage. It's also unpainted drywall. I happen to have that too. So we have a lot in common. And, you know, since we have such similar lives, why don't we be friends? You know, that's the best case scenario, is that they're positive, that they're nice to you. Usually if you're famous, they're not saying, they just, even if they don't mean to, you could be walking down the street as like Brad Pitt, mind your own beeswax, and somebody coming, hey, Brad Pitt, so in that movie, you look, you know, they could say something that they don't even realize is he's not gonna like what you're saying. He's not gonna like what you're saying, you know, but they think that they're just complimenting him, but he's like, why? I don't give a. That's not like all you commented on was like, dude, when you kicked that guy's ass in that movie, dude, when the car got dented, dude, how did you do that? That was awesome. It's like, well, that was not me actually doing that. You fucking idiot. It's called practical effects. Like, I didn't actually dent the guy with my car. All right, you know, I didn't dent the car with that Asian guy. Yeah, that's called movie magic, you fucking... I didn't even write it. I didn't write it. All I did was look cool doing it. Thank you. Yeah, I look cool. Thank you. Pretty sure I knew that. It's like, you know? Hey, why'd you divorce Angelina? Why'd you divorce Angela? Dude, that was 40 years ago. I'm just trying to walk to the grape stand, or the whatever fancy LA place that celebrities pretend to go. They don't go. People in LA that are Brad Pitt don't go to Jujube or whatever the hell. Like, they don't go to juice shops. They don't go to coffee shops that they pretend to go. You know, they don't go to In-N-Out that they pretend to see everyone at. Oh yeah, I just saw Brad Pitt at In-N-Out. No, you thought you wanted to see him there. You know, that's all you said. That's all you did, is that you think, hey, it'd be cool to have seen. But he just made up a story. He doesn't go to fucking In-N-Out. He's Brad Pitt. He doesn't want to be around people that go to In-N-Out. L.A. I don't know if you know this. Anybody could just go there. Anybody could literally just drive to Hollywood, and you're in Hollywood, and the ticket was $0. So you think you're just going to be around celebrities just because you drove to exit, because you drove on an interstate that had an exit that said Hollywood on the side? That means you're going to meet Brad Pitt. Yeah, it's possible. I'm not saying he's a deity that's like too good to be there, but literally, you're not good enough to be around him is more accurate. He's not the most you know, he's not the most fascinating person in the world. You'll get sick of, you know, Brad Pitt can only offer so much as a person. It's just that everyone else can't offer even anything. You know, you might see like an actor or a celeb, like a singer or a musician, and be like, what the hell is this so good about this guy? And you'll hear one of their songs or something and be like, okay, it's pretty catchy, but why is he so famous? Well, it's because compared to you, they've done a lot more. Like, yeah, okay, they have one hit song. To you, that's not that much. So what would you consider your achievements that are so much, you know, what's so good about you? Yeah, it's because they actually have a hit song. You have zero. You have nothing. You have less than nothing because you're obnoxious to people. You leech off people like baby boomers did that didn't get killed in Vietnam. All you did was snort coke and do free LSD that a chemist made in a barn. The fucking baby boomers are the most spoiled generation in the fucking world. They didn't have to pay for LSD. They went to a Grateful Dead concert and never fucking left. They went to a Grateful Dead concert and realized, hey, I could just do this all fucking day, every day for the rest of my life. I could just follow the dead until I'm dead. And the stock market is going to go up 10% every year, so I'm just going to get richer and richer anyway. It's like, might as fucking well. Because I'm a baby boomer. And somebody made acid in a bar. You know, I show up to the fucking counter and say, hey man, I got this shit called, it's ass. I got this shit from this guy from a barn. He's a chemist. He's a fucking chemist, dude. He made it. So you do it, yeah. So, you know, and that's easy to get laid back then, too, on top of everything else. You just fucking go up to somebody else who's already topless. You go, hey, want to get married? You're already topless. We're already on acid. That's what you say. You just reason. You just get, you know, you just reason your way into marriage. Just by, you know, very easy to get a woman, to get a wife back then, you know. And they didn't even divorce you until you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, proved that you were like a horrible human being. So like you could, you know, you would get a wife just by going boom. You know, it's by literally just making eye contact, and then they stay with you for 20 years until in the late 80s. Finally, like early 90s. Finally, that's when the camel breaks its back. That's when the camel breaks its back. But it's the 90s. The culture has shifted dramatically to now we're in grunge. And boomers don't know how to get laid in fucking flannel. They wear tie-dye. They don't know how to make sense of something that has straight lines going up and down. So they didn't get it. They didn't get how to get laid after getting divorced in the 90s. So they became, what did they become of them? They're still alive. They're happily divorced, and they are millionaires from the stock market going up 10% every year since they were born. It's easy to be a baby boomer. I'm not one of them, but I am in heart, and I respect them, especially the ones that are no longer here because they died in Vietnam from a heroin overdose in a car. Like, Vietnam wasn't that... It was a pretty modern country. Communism is a modern, developing idea. So, like, you could have easily left the jungle, walked to a parking lot. They had parking lots back then. Got to do an unlocked car. I'm sure there was at least one car that somebody forgot to lock because you had to do it manually back then. And fucking did heroin in the backseat of somebody's LeSabre. I respect that person just as much as the person that died in, you know, while killing those guys. I was going to say the G word. I don't think you should just casually. But anyway, so they killed those guys. All right. Thank you. This has been Tim Weixelbaum Show, episode 97. My name is Tim Weixelbaum.